Hello, today is the last thing that we're going to learn this week in for this unit, Module 3. So this is the last bit of new information. So today we're on page 30 in our packet, and it is lesson 23, mid-segments of triangles is what we're going to learn today. So let's go ahead and review something that we learned in Unit 1. So if point Q is the midpoint of line PR, so the key word here is midpoint, and the key topic that we're learning is mid-segment. So midpoint, we should realize that that is going to be the middle of line PR. So it's going to separate the line into two equal parts. So if I know this is a midpoint, there's two ways I could solve this equation. One way is I know that 2x plus 5 is going to equal 3x plus 2. And the other equation I could set up for this problem, so that would be part equals part. And the other problem is I could do part plus part is going to equal my whole. And this number right here is my whole because it's what the whole segment is. So the other equation I could set up is 2x plus 5 plus 3x plus 2 is going to equal your whole, which is 22. In this situation, you didn't have to solve for x, but I just wanted you to see that there's two ways you could set up this situation, given the information that it is a midpoint. Okay, so thinking about that, today we're going to talk about mid-segments of triangles. So what do you think a mid-segment is? Well, it is a segment that actually cuts your triangle in half. So what do I mean by that? Let's do a quick discovery activity. If you move to page 29, there is an explore activity that you're going to do. And basically what it says is you're going to use a straight edge. I'm not, but you are. And you're going to draw a triangle here. And you're going to label it A, B, C. Okay? And then you're going to go ahead and take a piece of patty paper. And you're going to trace it on the patty paper. Okay, so now I've got my second triangle. And this triangle over here, we're going to move it over here. That should be on patty paper. And you're going to label it A apostrophe, B apostrophe, and C apostrophe. So basically what you know is that you have two congruent triangles. All right? After that, you're going to pinch. You're going to actually fold your paper in half. And you're going to pinch a little midpoint right there in AB, and you're going to label that M. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side here, BC, and you're going to label that point N. Okay? And then you're going to use a straight edge, and you're going to draw a line right here. And that should be the mid-segment of your triangle. And then you're going to compare BMN to angle A above and do the rest of the things that it says. Okay, so, and then finally summarize your findings at the very end. And what you should have discovered is that when you compare the sides of your triangle, you should have noticed that the mid-segment, which is right here, is going to cut your triangle in half. So you should have a piece here and a piece here that are congruent, and a piece here and a piece here that are congruent. Okay? And then the other thing that's pretty interesting is that DE, so this side right here that I highlighted, is actually exactly half the length of AB. So DE is actually 1/2 whatever the length of AB is, which is kind of interesting, and that's good to know. We use that information to answer some questions about this. So we're going to do some problems together so you can see how to apply these theories, and then you're going to do some problems with a partner. Well, if you're watching the video, you'll probably end up doing them alone. So if we want to find KL, so KL is this segment right here. That is our mid-segment. And so what do we know about KL? Well, KL is going to equal 1/2 of the long side down here that it's parallel to. So it's going to be 1/2 of FD. So if we know FD is 10, KL is going to equal 1/2 of 10. So we know that KL is in fact 5. Okay. These are pretty simple. So let's look here. We know it's marked up correctly. It's marked up to show that we have the mid-segment of a triangle. Trying to fix my screen there. Okay, so we know we want to find EF again. So EF, and we're going to compare it to LN. And we know it's a mid-segment because of the markings that are drawn here. And so we know that EF is going to equal 1/2 of LN. So EF is going to equal 1/2 of 12. And so this part right here is going to be 6. So you could work backwards as well. And you could say that LN is going to equal 2 times EF. Okay? And that way you don't have a fraction. It's much easier to multiply by a whole number than a fraction. So you notice if I take the long side, it's going to equal the short side times 2. So remembering that, I'm going to apply that rule down here. So this is my short side, and this is my long side. Okay, so I'm going to take my short side and multiply it by 2. So I know that MK, which is my long side, is going to equal 2 times YX. Because that's the easier way to set this up. So what am I multiplying? Well, MK is here. That's x plus 30. Is going to equal 2 times x plus 19. Okay? And so I'm going to keep my x plus 30 on this side. And then I'm going to do the distributive property over here. So that's 2x. And let's do 19 times 2. It's going to be like 38 probably. 38. Well, now I got to come across the equal sign, so I'm going to do some switching. I can see my answer is going to be negative, actually. So I'm going to first subtract x from both sides. So this is 30 equals x plus 38. Then I'm subtract 38, and I get x equals negative 8. So x equals negative 8. And if I plug it in, I should end up with negative 8 plus 19 is 11. And negative 8 plus 30 is 22. And you can see that 11 times 2 is 22. All right, let's look at this problem over here. Once again, I got a short side. So this is my short side, and this is my long side. And so I know that my long side, which is x minus 3, is going to equal my short side times 2. Right? So x minus 3 is going to equal, I'm going to go ahead and do the distributive property here, 2x minus 14. Then I got to use inverse operations. So I'm going to add 14 over here and subtract x over here. So I've done both steps at once, which is fine. So negative 3 plus 14, 14 is 11. 2x minus x is x. So I know that x is 11. If I plug it in, right, I'm going to plug in an 11 here and an 11 here, I should end up with a good answer. So 11, 10, 9, 8, and 11 minus 7 is 4. And you can see that 4 is, in fact, half of 8. Or you can look at it the other way and say that 8 is 2 times 4. So that's how you apply the mid-segment, triangle mid-segment theorem. Is it a theorem or a postulate? Let's look back and see. I guess it's just a definition. So there you have it. Now, if you move to page 31, if you were here, you would do a boss secretary activity. However, you're not working in a classroom setting. So therefore, you have to determine, is your desk, are you an A partner or a B partner? If you're sitting at a desk with an A on it, you are going to answer questions 2, 4, and 6, show all your work, and the answer's at the bottom of the page. If you're sitting at a B desk, you should have answers for 1, 3, and 5. All right, so I'm going to do a problem to show you how to work this out. So for example, in question number 1, it says find the value of each variable below. In each problem, MN has a midsegment of the triangle. The diagrams are not drawn to scale. Okay, so for example, if I'm looking at this picture, I know that this side here is going to be 6 because I know that those two sides are congruent to each other. And then if this is 41 degrees, then this angle is also going to be 41 degrees. And that's because of corresponding angles. We have parallel lines, so that's corresponding angles. And I know that if this side is 12, well, this side is going to be 2 times 12 because it's the long side. So this side here is going to be 24. Okay? So you're going to go ahead and mark up your triangles accordingly. Please remember that for number 4, if you're looking at this side and this side, what you know about those two segments is that they are equal to each other. So when you're setting this situation up into an equation, you would have part equals part to find out what x is. So you would do something like 5x minus 9 equals 2x plus 18. And of course, you'd have to solve the equation this way. So I'm going to subtract 2x from here, and I'm going to add 9 here. So that's 3x equals 18 plus 9, 27. So x equals 9 in that case. And then over here, you would know that this is the short side. This is the short side, and this is the long side. So the long side equals the short side times 2. So for this equation, it would be 7y minus 24 equals 2 times y plus. Just an idea of how to set these up. Now, today's assignment, you want to make sure that you're checking Aspen for any missing work. All missing work is due 10/5/18. That's our hard deadline for this semester. If you're in a different semester, your deadline will be a little bit different. So today's assignment, you had to do page 29 through 31 in your packet to make sure you've got today's assignment completed. And then you've got from yesterday the rally roundtable practice. That was 3 problems. It was a handout. It's not in your packet. Page 22, 24, and 25, that is in your packet. Make sure that's complete. It's extra practice for the test. IXL, again, not in your packet. You need a 75% or better. If you're an honors class, you need an 85% or better. You've got the mini project due. That was from Module 2. This is Module 2. And all the information you need is on 913 in Canvas. You had to finish your practice in the packet. At this point, it's not through 1 through 25. You should be 1 through 31 should be completed. We had a mastery quiz last week. Make sure you've got that done. And then around the room, you'll see several problems. This is page 7 and 8 in your packet. Please make sure those are completed. You have to have at least 10 problems done, but if you want some extra practice, or some people are always asking for extra credit, you can go back around and do an extra 10 problems and get some extra credit. Also, it's a great way to study for the test that's coming up next week. Okay, so please work through, make sure you're all caught up on all of your missing assignments.